What's going on YouTube? So the minivan segment has really been heating up with the new Sienna, new Pacifica, and this Honda Odyssey, which was just refreshed a few months ago. But despite it only being January, Honda has already released the 2022 version. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what's new for 2022 and how it stacks up against the competition. So on the outside, Honda has added one new exterior color for 2022, and that is called Vibrant Red Metallic. That's not what we have. We have the standard gray, and as far as the rest of the front, this is going to be the same as what you saw with the refresh model. So you've got this new grille on board. It's got a lot less chrome than what you previously had, and it is finished in a gloss black for this model. You do still have a piece of chrome though that goes across the top, and that leads into the headlights. Now these are fully LED, and that's standard on every single model. You also have an LED daytime running light right here. You have incandescent turn signals down at the bottom, and all but the very base model will also come with LED fog lights. Now checking out the wheels, most of the models will come standard with an 18-inch alloy. However, the top two trim levels come with 19-inch alloys. This to me is the most aesthetically pleasing wheel option because the Elite ones are a little bit of a weird design. And then moving beyond that, we have our mirrors. Of course, these are going to be heated, as well as having blind spot monitoring on all but the LX trim level. And if you want power folding and auto dimming, that will require the fully loaded Elite.
All right, now there is a big change for 2022 with this Odyssey. As you can see, we have a two-tone white roof on this one. No, I can't even say it with a straight face, but we don't get much snow here, so might as well enjoy it while we have it. But there's really no changes for 2022 with the Odyssey as far as the side and rear design. Now, of course, they refreshed it last year, so you are gonna have this new black piece of plastic with a silver trim going through it. That kind of gives it a more unique and sporty design. Then off on the side, we do still have our fully incandescent taillights. Every single component in here is incandescent. And then we have our touring badge. And of course, as you would expect, there's not going to be any exposed exhausts. Now for 2022, your safety systems are going to remain unchanged, but last year they went ahead and added the entire Honda safety suite standard on all of the models. So even on that base LX, you're going to have forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, adaptive cruise control, auto high beam headlamps, and lane keeping assist. Well guys, if you haven't taken a second to hit that subscribe button already, please go ahead and do that. It really helps us out. It doesn't cost you anything, so what are you losing? But now let's go ahead and check out that inside where your family's going to be spending their time before we take it out in a spin.
So on the 2022 Honda Odyssey, they are continuing to give you smart entry as well as remote start, standard on all but the base model. And of course, that's particularly welcome on a day like this. And to get inside the vehicle itself, just grab behind the handle since there is a sensor. Now taking a first look inside of this cabin, you're not going to notice any significant changes, of course, since this was just refreshed for 2021. But let's go ahead and talk about the interior color and material options. So like most Honda products, the LX and the EX will come standard with cloth seating. However, once you get to the EXL or above, that's where you'll get real leather seating, and that comes in your choice of black, gray, beige, or mocha colors. Now turning over here to your door trim, you'll see the same materials reflected up here. So we have a nice leather trim across the armrest as well as above it. And then the Touring and Elite trim levels will come with the piano black accents. We also have two-person memory seating as well as 4 fully automatic windows. Heading down here to your seat, this is the standard 12-way power adjusting seat on all but the very base model. And then like I was already saying, we do have a real leather seat, which of course is incredibly comfortable. Now, just a few short months ago, this was refreshed for the 2021 model year. So for the 2022 model year, you have the same interior upgrades on board. So across our upper dash, this is all going to be covered in a leatherette material with a stitching detail. As we move down, we have some silver trim. You'll see a lot more of this piano black trim, which like I already mentioned, is part of the top 2 trim levels. Then as we move down, you'll find some more hard touch materials, but of course everything feels super solid in that typical Honda way, as well as very durable. You're going to start up the Odyssey, put your foot on the brake, and press the standard button. And once the Odyssey fires up, you will be greeted with the standard 7-inch reconfigurable gauge cluster with the 2 analog gauges on the outside edge. This is the same as last year, so you just have a lot of different settings, including the settings for your safety systems right in there. And then coming back to the steering wheel, of course we have electric power assisted steering, and we have a nice leather wrapped steering wheel. It is going to be manual tilt and telescoping, and if you want steering wheel heating as well as rain sense wipers, that's going to be Elite exclusive. Alright, but this is a van after all, so there's probably no more important aspect than interior storage. So let's take a look. Of course we have the handles there that we can slide out of the way, and we'll open up our center console first. As you can see, ton of space, super deep, goes all the way down to the floor. We also have some connections inside. So when we get these coupons out, I mean, this is just a joke, guys. It just swallows it up, no problem. And we still have a lot more storage from there. So we've got another little slot here. This would be a wireless phone charging pad on Elite. We have our 2 cup holders, and then we just have a gigantic bin where you can stick anything like a diaper bag, a purse, something like that. We have our DVD player as well as some more connections through there. Now, of course, we can't have that much storage because we have the shifter mounted up here and out of the way. This is Honda's typical electronic shifter, so you just push down D for drive, you can press again for the sport mode, and surprisingly, we do have paddle shifters on board. For reverse, you'll pull back on the trigger, and when you do, you will be greeted with this backup camera across every single trim level. As you can see, we do have active trajectory on all but the LX, and you have 3 different angles you can switch between, but there is no 360 camera. And you do also get an electronic parking brake as well as brake hold. Alright, so now let's move above that to our climate control. So this is a 3-zone automatic climate setup with a nice toggle here to adjust your temperature. Most of the controls are located here, but some of them you will have to press the front climate, for instance, to change the zones. And then you can do the same for the rear climate as well. And then down below that, we have our standard 3-stage heated seats on the touring trim level. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a listen to the standard 6-speaker sound system, which comes on all the trim levels except for the Elite. So overall sound quality is decent. You know, not super impressive. You probably wouldn't expect just for 6 speakers inside of a large cabin like this, but like I said, you can get an upgraded 11-speaker sound system if you want to choose the Elite trim level. Okay, so let's take a look now at our infotainment system. So this is the 8-inch display, which comes on all but the base LX trim level, and it is running the new Honda Link system. Now, most of the system is the same as pretty much any Honda product. So we have standard Android Auto, standard Apple CarPlay. We also have navigation built in to the Touring and Elite trim levels. But I want to take a look over here at some of the additional apps that are Odyssey exclusive. So we have the social playlist where different family members can add songs to one unified playlist. We also have Cabin Watch. So this is like basically rear seat surveillance system of your kids or whoever you want to keep an eye on. Really cool stuff. You can zoom in and out. things like that. And you also have the ability to turn on and off the intercom system so that they can hear your voice amplified to the back via the speakers. Now moving above that, EXL and above get the auto dimming mirror with HomeLink universal remotes. And those are also the trim levels that include the standard size moonroof.
All right, so sitting in the rear seats of the Odyssey, this is hands down the most important thing about this vehicle because, of course, if you have a minivan, I'd say 99% chance that you have a family that's going to be riding back here. So let's go ahead and break down some of the features. For one, I'm going to go ahead and close this door because it's pretty cold. As you can see, it is a power door, and that's going to be on all but the very base LX model. Now, as far as the rear legroom figures are concerned, we have 41 inches of rear legroom, 40 inches of rear headroom, which does place it above the Chrysler Pacifica. So this is a large amount of space, as you would expect. And behind your seating position, I have, I would say, 6 inches of rear legroom. My feet can slide up underneath the seat, and we can also slide these seats forward and back. As well as you probably know this by now, the Odyssey seats can also slide side to side. And that's also going to be a feature that's available on all but the very base LX trim. Now, another one that's going to be on all but the LX is going to be the rear window sunshades here on the side. And then as far as here in the center, we have cup holders. Dropping down, we have an HDMI port, 2 smart charging USB ports. And then you're going to notice up here in the top, on this Touring, we have the rear seat entertainment system. So that's going to keep you and your family all happy. Now, for when you're hauling your kids' friends around and need to get into the third row, all you have to do is locate this little lever right here that folds the seat forward and slides it up so you can easily get back here. Now, sitting in the third row itself, minivans are notoriously the best third rows you can really get in any vehicle. There is so much space. As you can see, I would say a solid 2.5 to 3 inches of rear legroom with this seat slid mostly back. My feet can slide up underneath the seat. Of course, there's 3 seats back here. And then as far as your features, we have vents, we have a charging USB port, we even have third row window sunshades, and you're also going to have your volume controls for the rear seat entertainment system. So walking up to the tailgate, you are going to have a power one on the EXL trims and higher, and it is also hands-free on the Elite. But since we have the Touring, we just locate the button under the lid to open it up. And once inside, there's a lot of space back here, as you probably expected. So you're going to have 33 cubic feet of space behind the third row seats. That expands all the way up to 89 cubic feet if you fold them. And as a maximum, you have 145 cubic feet. That's about as big as you can get in any vehicle before you get to a semi-truck. And that's right in line with what the Rivals has, and actually quite a bit above the new Toyota Sienna. Now, as far as how Honda's finished it, in typical minivan fashion, you have this giant hole right here that the third row seats fold into. And then I do want to point out on the right side, we have a 12-volt power outlet. And if you remember correctly, they also used to offer a Honda Vac vacuum cleaner back here. Well, the supplier has basically said they don't have any supplies for that, so that's not going to be offered on the Elite trim anymore. Now, if you can see past the little waterfall going on right here, you do have a power adjusting seat on this Touring model. And then if we open up the glove box, this is a really good sized glove box. And as far as the coupons, now of course this is very important. You gotta have coupons for you and the 12 kids in the back. So they're gonna fit in here just fine, so no worries there. And then up top, we do have a massive sun visor with lighting on both sides, a mirror, and you can also detach. However, there is not an extension.
All right, and just like that, up to 60, uphill in this Odyssey. Now, as you can see, it's really a pretty powerful motor. A lot of different powertrain options have kind of been introduced inside of this segment. As you may know, the Sienna went hybrid only, but this continues with a more traditional style V6 engine. So this is a 3.5 liter V6, 280 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. The those are good numbers for the class, and you know, like we just demonstrated, it moves this big thing around pretty well.
Yeah, and you know, I do just want to touch on, I mean, obviously the Sienna is this vehicle's biggest competition, and you know, I think it's a unique benefit to have the V6 as the only engine on this, because it gives you that choice. I don't mind the Honda Odyssey's hybrid powertrain, but it's not a smooth V6 like this. But, you know, just cruising down the highway, we're going 59 miles per hour. I mean, that is what this vehicle does best. It's designed to do just family cruising, go down the I-75 down to Florida for vacation, and just be in ultimate comfort, and that's what this Odyssey really shines at. As you can see, we just went over an overpass here, and it is incredibly smooth, and the ride quality is great. Now, we will also get a sound level reading when we get up to speed after this red light.
Alright, it'll bring us to 55 here.
So going 55 miles an hour, we're looking at 57.7 decibels. That's a really good reading, and just by the seat of my pants here, this is about as quiet as any vehicle you can buy. Nowadays, like I said, this is super comfort and family focused.
So as far as the transmission, we have a 10-speed automatic on board. This is probably the best transmission in the class. It is incredibly smooth. Works through the 10 gears seamlessly. No like hesitation, lag as far as like what gear to be in. I've always been a big fan of this transmission in every application that they use it in.
And as far as your drive trains, this is going to be front drive only. That's particularly worth noting because a lot of the competition offers all-wheel drive, including that Sienna, so that is something that this Odyssey could certainly improve on, and that's today's airball, is just that fact that that is missing. And as you can tell, on a day like today where it snows out, you want to keep your family safe, and having all-wheel drive gives you that peace of mind.
So since Mason did mention the airball, it's time for me to mention the Slam Dunk. That for us is going to be just this mixture of space and features. The Odyssey really just is a strong contender, and especially if you compare like within the Honda lineup to the Pilot, you're going to find more space and more features inside of this Odyssey.
Yeah. Alrighty, and wrapping stuff up, let's go ahead and talk about the pricing. So for 2022, the prices are going to rise around $300 on all the trim levels. So the LX is $32,090, EX $35,490, EXL $38,760, Touring $42,800, and the Elite is going to be $47,820.
And that Elite does not rise $300 because it is missing the vacuum cleaner, so that's the only one that stays the same. So at the beginning, we asked, amongst all the new competition, is this Odyssey the best choice? Still a good choice? Absolutely 100%. I feel like within the minivan segment, each offering is offering different things, kind of. It's become more diverse than ever before, and this Odyssey certainly has a really long list of strengths and things that make it stand out from the competition.
Well guys, that's going to wrap up this in-depth review of the 2022 Honda Odyssey Touring. We really appreciate you watching this video, and if you made it this far, don't lie to me. I know you enjoyed or at least found this video helpful, so be sure to pay us back by hitting that subscribe button down below. It doesn't cost you anything, so what is it hurting? And all it's going to do is give you notifications on all of our most recent content, and we're going to have a lot more coming up soon. Anyway, we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.